Welcome to our candidates for City Council position number one. We have the appointed incumbent with us, Latricia Suggs, and her challenger, Adam Garcia. This is a nonpartisan position. The ballot text will be mailed out to us this coming Wednesday, October 13th. The election itself is November 2nd, so it's right around the corner. We'll begin with the candidates' opening statements and go to questions from our membership. All questions, of course, need to be addressed to both candidates. To ask a question, please go to participants and put up your hand. To keep things orderly, please unmute yourself only when I recognize you. And with that, let's ask each of our candidates to tell us in a maximum of 3 minutes each who they are and why we and our friends should vote for them. I'll hold up a note when the candidates get to their last 1 minute. Anyway, let's start with the challenger on this, Adam Garcia. Adam?
Yeah, good morning, everybody. Thanks for the opportunity to be here and to speak to the group. So my name's Adam Garcia. I grew up here in Port Angeles. Came here in about, I don't know, third grade or so, and then stayed here through high school, graduated, and then joined the military. That was back in 2001. Left the military service after about 16 years and moved back here to raise my family. And I've traveled all over the world, and Port Angeles is pretty unique. It's a gorgeous area and it's something I would love to preserve. So let's see here. I have a ton of children. I have, between my wife and I, we have 6 kids, ages 6 to 22. So I've got 2 in Hamilton, 2 at the high school this year, and then 1 just graduated from the nursing program here at PC. She's now working full-time in the ER as a nurse there. So we're quite proud of her. She's doing very well for herself. As for me, I have a bachelor's in business. This is my 3rd year on the truancy board for the Port Angeles School District. Now, we haven't had our any meetings yet. I know I've been in contact with the board president, and she said she hasn't heard quite yet from the school district. Everything's kind of a mess right now, so I would imagine that's probably something that's going to be coming down the pipe in the next, I don't know, month or 2. But I'm not expecting it right now, for sure. Let's see. In the military, I spent my time about 16 years, like I said, as an intelligence analyst. I did that. And that's kind of the main overarching job, but I had all kinds of jobs in management throughout my time there. I taught management for 3 years at a senior level and loved that absolutely. I love adult learning. It's something that was probably my favorite time in the military, honestly. Got out of the military at, like I said, about 16 years, and that was kind of devastating to me. I wanted to retire. I had a medical separation due to some ankle surgeries that I had to have, and yeah, so here I am now. I work for the VA, for the Veterans Clinic here in Port Angeles, and I help service about 500 veterans in their homes, providing primary care. And that gives them everything from physical therapy, mental health, dietary, RNs, social work services, and that's like I said, about 500 vets throughout Puget Sound. So that's Seattle, Tacoma, Silverdale, and the Port Angeles Swim area. Let's see, my main issues for the town is going to be, housing. Obviously, that's going to be a huge thing, and kind of intermingled with that is homelessness and business, because the economy is going to be driving everything. So I hope to work with each and every group of people that's interested to try to tackle these issues. And I take very seriously this obligation to be a representative for the citizens. So thank you for the time, and I'll turn it over to Latricia.
Latricia, over to you.
Hi, nice to see everyone this morning. My name's Latricia Suggs. I've lived in Port Angeles almost all my life. I have a bachelor's in environmental policy and planning. I've worked in Indian country locally for both Lower Elwha and currently for Jamestown Squamish tribe for the last 20 years in natural resource restoration and protection. projects. I worked for 16 years on the largest dam removal project, the OA restoration project. We worked a lot with the National Park Service, Bureau of Indian Affairs, our congressional and state delegations on mitigation for that project, specifically to the tribe, but also other mitigation projects. There was mitigation for the city of Port Angeles, issues with private citizens too that had wells that were impacted during that time. Currently, I work with Jamestown on floodplain restoration. So I conserve properties for permanent conservation easements. We've conserved over 200 acres of floodplain along the Dungeness. So natural resources is kind of in my wheelhouse. It's something that I'm passionate about. It's something that I do bring to the table that not all of the other council members bring to the table. So again, it's good to have people who are experienced, who have different experiences set on city council, because you get, not everybody needs to be an expert in everything. It's kind of hard to do. So, you know, I've got 3 kids. They range from 10 up to 29. I also have 2 lovely grandsons. I've served on 3 boards for Jamestown Sloan Tribe. Actually, I'm on 4 for them. I sit on Washington Water Trust. I sit on the Health Board for Jamestown, the Economic Development Authority Board for Jamestown, and ironically, I sit on the Cannabis Board for Jamestown too. All of those have, I have over 15 years experience sitting on the boards. So I bring that experience with me, working with the city of Port Angeles as a council member. Some of the things that, you know, I'm pretty passionate about, again, we do have a housing crisis. We had a housing crisis before the pandemic. We have a childcare crisis, and that we even had that prior to the pandemic. Prevention Works is a local organization that really focuses on childcare, but it's something too that both the city and the county are well aware of, and trying to partner with organizations that could do that. I've also pushed my tribe, Jamestown Scullum Tribe, as to helping to address childcare, because, you know, we do have a large workforce that, you know, we have Jamestown. Okay, I'm done. So you guys can ask me more questions.
Sorry to cut you off, Latricia.
That's okay.
All right, let's go to questions. We actually have 2 standing by. Laurel Black first, and then President Scott. Laurel, do you want to unmute,
Yes.
roll out?
I did. Thank you both for stepping up to run. That's a huge community service right there, and you're both to be commended for taking that on. I have a question that was inspired by other forums, and it is, I would like both of you to describe in detail, in specific ways, what you think the top issue facing Port Angeles is over the next 4 years, which would be the term, and what specifically you have in mind to address it.
Okay, Adam, could you go first with that one?
Yeah.
Top
So
issue?
yeah. So that what's the time that we have for this, or is there no time?
No, go ahead. Just if you could just stay on point, that's all.
Okay, not a problem. So pretty simply, I think the biggest issue here in Port Angeles is going to be the housing and homelessness. They're kind of intermingled. In the moment, nobody can buy a house at any price point. It's just entirely too expensive. My house here, I bought 2 years ago, and it's almost gone up. It's gone up about 40% in value, which is just absurd to me because I haven't done anything. I put up like half a fence, and so it's going to be an issue in the future. It's going to, you know, as the house valuation goes up, assessments are going to go up, which increases taxes, which is going to drive things even further for the rental market. So as far as what I'm going to do for that, the unfortunate reality is that there's nothing that I personally am going to be able to do to fix the homelessness or the housing situation. What I can say is that I know that we need to work with the EDC and to try to get more career-focused jobs. You know, one of the biggest hindrances for getting apartment complexes into the area is that they're an investment, and that investment is going to be based on wage growth. And if there's not enough wage growth in an area, which we currently don't have, then the investment isn't going to happen. And it's nobody's going to, donate millions and millions of dollars to build an apartment complex if they're not going to make money out of it. It's, I wish the world worked that way. It doesn't. So I think that's going to be something that I put a lot of effort into, is trying to find ways to make Port Angeles an attractive area for investment in the apartment realm. And as far as homelessness is concerned in that aspect, I think we have a lot of services here, and I think that's a good thing. I don't really want to get rid of any, but at the same time, we aren't very good. I think our needs and gaps assessment identified it pretty well. Our coordinated entry program is lacking, and I think that it's something that needs a lot of focus. It is something that is going to be paramount to getting moving in the right direction as far as homelessness is concerned. So getting a lot of the population more involved with services and being able to track those services is going to be paramount. So I'll leave off with that.
All right. Thanks very much, Adam. Latricia, over to you.
Well,
Top challenge.
Thank you. Laurel, I think you asked what is the one top priority that we can that we could do something about. And I think one of our top priorities is our code update. We have a code that's over 130 years old, some of those codes, and that code update is going to impact all of our other priorities, from housing to homelessness to building to code enforcement. I think that's a top priority, because that's going to touch everything else that are also priorities, and that's something that I can directly participate with. One, we can encourage and continue to encourage our public to participate in that process, because if we don't have the public to participate, we are not going to develop a code that benefits our community. And we need our community to bring those ideas and participate in those forums so that we develop a code that fits our community. And that's the one thing that I can do. And that's what we need to focus on, because that's going to impact all of those other issues that are of concern within our community. So our code update is probably one of our top priorities. Again, we have a lot of issues that are top priorities, but I think our code update is going to impact all of those. And again, as a group organization and as individuals, we need our community to participate in that. So I'm going to advocate that we continue to make sure that people know about those opportunities and we get those opportunities out, because unless we just need that, that's how we work as a community. Strong partnerships, not just with organizations, but with individuals, with our citizens. So that's my top priority. It's something that I can work with our council on, work with city staff, work with our contractors who are working on that to make sure that it gets out to the community and that we get community input.
Great. Thanks very much, Latricia. Over to you, President Scott. You have a question?
Yeah, I've actually got two. So the first one is just a yes or no vote, and it goes back to the homelessness property value. On the corner of N Street and Milwaukee Drive, the owner of that property was looking to subdivide his property down in the 17 miniature parcels for people to move in. It was very contentious, with the residents along Milwaukee Drive. There are six-figure homes there, and that's right at the corner as they come in. So everybody was worried about their property value. Although that pretty much a mute and dead decision. But if that were to come up to the city council to vote yes or no to allow that person to subdivide the lot, how would you vote?
Very specific, Latricia.
I'll follow up with another question.
Yeah, we'll be fine. Latricia, could you go first on that one?
Well, one of the things I want to start off with, Scott, sorry, I can't answer yes or no, because the city council doesn't get involved in land issues. That goes to a hearing examiner. And the hearing examiner examines the details. And that was done specifically because land issues, they are contentious and they need to be based on what's in the law. So I would have to, I mean, if you had this like theoretical, if it ever did, which it won't, I would have to take a look at what the laws are.
Okay. Adam?
Yeah, so in the hypothetical that it came to city council to determine whether or not that was acceptable, I think right now I don't have enough information. I understand the property owners' concerns as far as a depreciation and value of their real property. And so I would want to know, I'd probably look to see how similar things have impacted property owners in other areas. And if there was a significant issue with property owners with other properties taking a significant hit to their value due to those situations, I would probably vote no if it in this hypothetical. But again, that's me needing some more information on the topic to truly make a decision on that.
Good.
Scott, you had a second question?
Yeah. So another contentious issue in today's environment is the health mandates. We've heard views from all the candidates, in terms of supporting the health mandates, with vaccination cards being shown at restaurants and fully masked inside. It is a very, very important issue for all of us. So, and I actually live here in Sequim, and the Sequim City Council, as everybody knows, voted not to support it. How did each of you feel about the health mandates and supporting that or not?
Adam, let's have you be the first to answer that one.
Sure. So, let me start out by saying I am fully vaccinated. But what I'll say on the topic of the health mandates is that, let me start out by saying also that I'm going to go off of the information that I have received through the different meetings that, with the health official. She stated that the mandates locally were based off state data. To me, I have a little bit of an issue with that because she's not a state health official. She's a county health official making county decisions that impact local citizens. So if there wasn't information to support the data, to support the decision locally, I think it was a bad decision. She's with that. I do support businesses having the right to make that decision for themselves. There was a couple of businesses even before Dr. Berry made the mandate. I know there was a tavern in town in Port Angeles that was looking to mandate vaccine cards, even before Dr. Berry did that. I fully support that. I think that a business should be able to make that decision for themselves, whether it be for their staff or for their patrons. I truly think that a business should be able to, succeed or fail based on their own decisions, and that's an important concept that I embrace. I don't think that the government should be mandating without some very specific information locally to back it up. And that just was never provided. And, if it's one of those things where I believe she also said that we're not going to go back to normal until we get back below 75 cases per 100,000, which, why did we wait till if it was such a dire thing, why did we wait till it was 1,200 cases per 100,000 before we instituted it? If it's not safe to go below 75 or to go above 75, why in the world did we wait so long? So that's my stance. I think that a business has a right to do it, and I support that and encourage that. I don't think the government should do it unless there's some extraordinary local data to back it up.
Latricia, over to you.
I want to say that Dr. Berry has had a very difficult and challenging job, and I have always supported Dr. Berry's decisions that she has made as a county health director. I know that she works with other local county health directors when they talk about, how, what the science is, what the numbers are, what is happening in surrounding local communities. And then they work together on that. I am sure she coordinates with CDC, National Institute of Health, all those other departments that, bring this information, and, they talk about solutions. I've always supported her. And I will continue to support her. I mean, we've seen the numbers come down from as high as 1,200. I think now they're down to below 600. This isn't a mandate on a vaccine passport. This is just going into a restaurant and a bar to show that you're vaccinated. It's not a passport that they're asking that you carry around locally. I know that there's been talks about it nationwide or statewide, but that's not where we're at. People still have the right to be able to order food to go. If they choose not to be vaccinated, they have the right to order food to go, to eat outside. Prior to requiring vaccines, I mean, that's what we were doing in the past. People were in tents and outside, and they were enjoying company and their families, and they were choosing to eat outside. Vaccines are not uncommon. We've grown up with having to have vaccines. And I think that, we need to put our community interests first. But I think that there are people that do have certain health issues that they need to consult with their doctor. If they have an issue or a medical concern for why they don't have the vaccine, and those discussions need to happen with their doctor. And there are going to be people, and so we can't judge people by just saying, oh, they don't have it. Well, there's probably maybe a medical reason, but I do support our Dr. Berry, and she's got a pretty tough job, and she's knowledgeable. She understands it. She's a doctor. She went to school. She's got a lot of support, and there is also statewide guidelines too that have probably helped her. So, I do support what she's done and what she's done for our community.
Scott, any follow-up or anything? Did the candidates answer your questions okay?
Yeah, sure did. Thanks to you both. Appreciate it.
Okay, do we have any members with questions? If you do, just if you could raise your hand virtually there at the participants thing. Anybody in there? Okay, let me ask one then. To both candidates, and Tricia, if we could go first on this one. What do you think? Do you think our downtown is healthy and successful? If so, why? And if not, what actions would change that? Downtown. Tricia first.
Well, when we talk about downtown, it's kind of hard not to just talk about business districts all over, because we've got to remember our business district. We have several of them throughout our community. Downtown is kind of unique in that it caters more to retail and your individual shops. I think that our downtown area, our retailers who have been down there have really pivoted and found ways to be successful during this pandemic. I'm gonna go to the little boutique down there, Ama's Uma. She's done a really great job. She has this fabulous online website. And it's just wonderful. I mean, she's got a small footprint of a store, but she's created this fabulous website. I think that, I've seen since I've lived here, since I was little, there's been changes going from the 88-cent store that was downtown and Bay Variety. And I remember when we had the hardware store and Hallmark, businesses changed throughout the years, and that will continue to happen and stuff. But I think what's going to happen is these code updates as they come through, especially when we look at envisioning what do we want our business districts to look like, that will also help to create what we want to see visually, what our business districts will look like. I think that They are doing good with the circumstances that they're facing right now. A lot of them have pivoted. A lot of them have found ways to be successful online, has pushed them to find different ways to be successful. And it's a tribute to their abilities to be creative. I wished that we have Moss, they're expanding their store. So they're moving from a smaller footprint to the larger footprint where Maurice's used to be. So we are seeing, those successful businesses expand their footprint. So I'm really proud of those businesses. And I tell you, I think going into business for yourself and starting a business is something to be celebrated because it's not easy to do. And everybody who does it, congratulations for the hard work that you do. I don't think I would be able to run a small business myself because I see the amount of work that it takes. I mean, you're working 24/7 when you run a business. You're on the clock all the time. So thank you to our local businesses that do that.
Okay, Adam, over to you. Do we have a healthy and successful downtown? If not, why?
Sure. So I'll just start out by saying no, we do not. If we did, the city wouldn't be working with Elevate PA to completely revamp the downtown area. I've been to all the Elevate PA public meetings. They're great. They're fantastic. A lot of public engagement. And, there are, of course, individual success stories downtown, and, hats off to all the small business owners down there. I drive through the area all the time, and I go down to several of the businesses pretty regularly. One of the big issues that keeps getting brought up for downtown is actually that you go down there for one or two things, and then you leave. There's no reason to stay. So in a thriving, successful downtown region, that would be a thing, is you'd have a reason to stay. And when you stay and wander, you engage more with the business community. And so I don't think it's overly healthy. Like I said, I drive through there every day. It's on my route to work and home from work. Another issue, every day I drive home, there's along Marine Drive and in the downtown area, there's abandoned vehicles, some being lived in, some not. Drug users, drug needles everywhere, camping. I've seen tents just popped up by the pier. Like those are not signs of a healthy environment. And what that is, that's a result of a failing system of engaging those members of our society that need help. Just having services isn't doing enough. We have to actually engage them. And again, I'm going to go back to the needs and gaps assessment. You can go back and see that a lot of the services that are out there don't have overly high success rates. And, that's an important aspect that definitely impacts our downtown region. So I don't think that it's overly healthy. And, I think that the best we can do is continue to work with Elevate PA, engaging our citizens and getting their input in that, hearing their great ideas. I've heard there was talks of a art walk downtown, a mural gallery downtown, all kinds of stuff that are just amazing. We do need to revamp some of the alleyways down there, maybe make use of that space. But I can't sit here and say thumbs up to downtown Port Angeles. We are doing everything we can. No, that's not where I'm at.
All right. We have a question from Kathy Presley. And Adam, if you could go first on this one. Kathy?
The question is, what about your personality or your characteristics makes you uniquely qualified to represent the people of Port Angeles?
Okay, Adam.
Yeah, so I grew up here with a single mom as a little brown kid, and it was hard. I grew up, I think between elementary school and high school, I think I lived in five different houses or apartments, maybe six. and I've worked my way up. I own my own home now. I got a college degree. I'm the first in my family to get a college degree, and it took a lot of hard work. So, I think I have the personality to engage with just about anybody, to listen to all kinds of different perspectives, and try to take away as much as I can. In the military, I worked with people from every race, origin, religion, economic standpoint you could possibly think of. And I loved it. It was absolutely amazing. And, the ability to engage with people and not just shut each other down because of a perceived opposing view to begin with is extremely important. So I think I bring that to the table. I love hearing anybody speak, and I love just the engagement that comes from it. And I think that I have the ability to, take away some very moderate stances. I by no means think that, politically I'll say there's the left, there's the right, and neither one of them are ever going to get their way. It's the end result's going to be in the middle somewhere. And so I think that the middle ground is generally where people need to come together and work together to a common solution. Most people have the same desire. It's just how we get there is, differs. So.
Okay, let's jump over to Latricia.
So what makes me uniquely, I don't want to say qualified, but characteristics that allow me to connect and work with our community? I generational knowledge and history. Like I said, I've grown up here. My family is from here. My great grandmother was born on the beach in our community. I have that knowledge, that historical, that the community knowledge. I am familiar with a lot of the things that have shaped our community. I remember the spotted owl and the changes in our natural resources industry, and how that reshaped natural resources for our community. I'm familiar with the 80s when it was really hard. And I remember it was, I think, the early 80s, to get a housing loan, people were looking at 10-12% interest rates and stuff. The struggles economically back then that happened and shaped our community. I've grown up here, and I have that, how Port Angeles, 1890, when, the city of Port Angeles, the council was created and adopted, and how it changed tribal communities. The city of Port Angeles grew, and they, brought electricity, but yet, our neighboring tribes, their government and organizations, they saw a decline in their government, and how that changed and shaped our community. But I bring to it also, the voice of our neighboring tribes. That's what I bring to council and to the citizens, which is important as we grow and develop, and as we want to grow and develop, bringing everybody to the table, bringing them and respecting them as a government, because that's what they are. That's what I bring to the table. I bring to the table, my experience working with all of the on the boards and all these projects within our community. And I do it because I want our community to be great. We are leaders in our community, and that's what I want to embody with all of our youth, all of our native youth, all of our local youth, our young girls. I want them to see that women are leaders, and that we as a community are leaders, and that we, make changes, and people kind of, they follow our lead. We saw that with the dam removal project. We saw it with Dr. Berry when she started making some changes when our numbers were getting high. People were coming and reaching out to Dr. Berry about, what you've done here. We may look at doing that statewide, because, that's what we do in our community. We are leaders. We see a problem, and and we find solutions to them and we work together, just as your organization you guys talked about working with OPCC and Peninsula Behavioral Health. Those strong partnerships, that's what I want us to do. It's part of our strategic plan, and that's something that I believe in.
Okay, well, it's 8 o'clock right now. Let's go to closing statements. 2 minutes each, please. And Latricia, let's start with you. Why should we vote for you?
Well, I appreciate the opportunity for you guys to listen to me and be able to form an opinion on my character and my quality of the person that I am. And I hope that you would continue to, or that you will support me this November when you're marking the box and stuff. But why? I think that, again, I bring the experience of the boards that I have worked on, my connection to the community through the projects that I have worked on, the connections to the community of the generations of, when you've lived here, your mother's lived here, your grandmother's lived here, you really get to know people in the community and you get to know the families and stuff. And that's great. But, I do bring, my education, my bachelor's in environmental policy and planning. I have, over 300 hours of federal acquisition regulation training. I've acquired my certificate, my community leadership certificate through Association of Washington Cities. I continue to engage in things that will impact our community, like Washington Water Trust. Water is a huge water supply is an issue, and it's going to even become more of an issue in the future. And I bring that uniqueness to council with my background in natural resources. But I also am part of the Jamestown Economic Development Authority. So I do believe that we can have economic growth and protect our natural resources, and also have growth in our population and our community, and do it correctly. Thank you.
Myself, we made a little noise. I'm sorry. Latricia, thanks very much. Again, Adam, let's go over to you. Why should we vote for you?
Yeah, I really just wanted to thank the Nor'Wester Rotary for the opportunity to speak today here. The wonderful questions that were asked. It was refreshing to get some questions that were, more directly impactful to our community, that had direct impact on the people here in Port Angeles and our surrounding areas. We sometimes take for granted the county region and their, what they do for the city itself. So, it's important to get our city council perspectives on those stances. So I love those questions. Thank you guys so much. I take very seriously the obligation to represent the city, and with your vote, I hope that the city of Port Angeles will prosper, and I hope to be a part of that. I think that the key to success in the future of Port Angeles is going to be our economic situation. It's going to drive change in the housing market, and it's going to drive change in the business development here in Port Angeles. I have the education to assist with that. I don't think that there's another way to that goal. As far as the environment is concerned, of course, I do think that every decision that's made on a city council should be balanced with a consideration towards our environmental impact, and so that's obviously part of our decision-making process. So I think that putting the city first and making sure that we can create an area here in Port Angeles that both preserves our natural environment and creates an area where our economy and our citizens can thrive is of utmost importance. And I think that I'm best suited to do that. So my name is Adam Garcia. I'm running for City Council Position 1, and I'd be honored to have your vote in the upcoming election. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
All right. Well, we're out of time, and Big thank you to both Latricia and Adam. Thanks very much for being here. And delighted to have you. Over to you, Scott.